AHumbleSoul, man. We took a brief intermission. We got another brother on the platform. Go ahead and introduce yourself, dog.
Yeah, man, I'm Miles, straight out of Orlando. You know, me and King been locked in for a minute doing this activism stuff, man.
So talk a little bit about just you, bro, like coming up. What section of the city are you coming from?
Yeah, I'm out of West Side too. You know, I was actually born in New York, but I moved down to Florida when I was about 7. I've been on Parramore most of my life, you know, raised Parramore, went there from elementary to high school, you know, and basically since I've been growing, I've been all over the whole city, you know, whether it was in the streets or doing stuff for the community, both ends of both ends of the spectrum, basically. I've been on both sides of it, but pretty much West Side, Parramore area, but you know, we from everywhere in the city, honestly, everywhere in the state nowadays, and trying to be everywhere all over the country soon.
Okay, nah, man, before we jump into all of that, so you said, so from the East Coast to the South, so like what part of New York?
Yeah, I was, my people, they from Bronx, you know, they was born in the Bronx, and my mom, she probably moved down here when I was about 7 years old, right before I turned 8. I came down here, been down here since pretty much at that age. I was going into the 2nd or 3rd grade, I believe, and then been down here for elementary, middle school, high school, Parramore. You know, that's one of the most historic black neighborhoods in Orlando. It used to be one of the biggest black neighborhoods till it got gentrified, but you know, that's the story around the whole country right now.
Man, for sure, man. So I was going to ask you about that too, because you mentioned Parramore. I'm not from Florida. I'm not familiar with Orlando like that. So the significance of Parramore in particular, you said that used to be or it is still the biggest.
It's still one of the biggest black neighborhoods in the city, but it was one of the most historic, and it was way bigger, you know, population-wise, and it got tore down. All the different changes, you know, it used to be straight black businesses and straight black neighborhoods, and now you see arenas, you see different corporations taking over it. You know, Orlando got Eatonville, not too far from it. That's the first black incorporated town in the whole country. And people don't even know the history of that. And they don't even tap into Eatonville because it's been so gentrified and forgotten.
You said the first black incorporated.
The first black in the whole country after slavery was abolished was in Eatonville, Florida, about 15 minutes from here.
That's crazy, man. I never knew that, man. So you learn something new every day, man. So,
yeah, it's some history.
So taking it back, so pretty much you've been in Orlando coming up, like you became a man here. Like at what age did you start making an impact and doing outreach and getting into the community? How did that whole process come about?
I mean, it really came from like struggles, you know, growing up. I grew up in Parramore, the story of a lot of kids growing up in Parramore. I got into the streets, you know, I sold dope, got arrested at a young age. I had a juvenile record, I had an adult record too, felony conviction, and really it was through me doing music, me doing outreach, like actually doing promotion. And I was doing stuff on the other side of the spectrum. And then one of my homeboys, he was around the time that Obama became president, started My Brother's Keeper. And that was around the whole country. One of my homeboys, one of the first ones to start it in Orlando. He was actually inspiration to me. His name was Gino Nicholas, and he actually was one of the people doing the work in Parramore where we from. Growing up, he was the kid that like, anytime we did something bad, he was the one that was above, like rose above everybody and was like, hey, I ain't doing that, man. I'm chilling. I'm gonna stay positive. He ended up starting the MBK chapter here, but he was actually a victim along with another lady. Well, it was 9 people who got shot. Him and another lady got killed in a drive-by here in Parramore. And this happened about 2016.
Your mentor?
He was not, he's a homeboy I grew up with, you know what I'm saying? But he was an inspiration.
Yeah.
And same age, you know, young brother at the time, 2016, and there was a drive-by, some other people that he knew he was involved with that he was trying to reach out to, came through, they sprayed the block. I think it might have been 7 people got hit, but him and a young lady named Tanya Skeen was killed. And she was a sister who did like kickball games, did stuff for the girls in the neighborhood. So it was like, coincidentally, a drive-by happened. They not the targets, but the 2 people who get killed are the only 2 people active in Parramore. So it was kind of like a void, you know what I'm saying? So that's what kind of charged me to step into that, like, hey, I'm gonna start doing this other stuff. I was already doing a little slow back-to-back, back-to-school giveaways, doing small stuff, but that actually made me be like, you know what? Let's reach out, because they tripping. You know, there's too much violence going on. I've been on both sides. Now I want to actually help try to get people away from that and show them a different way. And, you know, that's around the time people like King was already going strong, doing this, like, on-the-ground Zulu network with all these brothers. And there was some other like-minded people in the city, so we kind of all just kind of got into the same space around certain incidents. You know, it was certain shootings back-to-back, kids just shooting. And the most crazy part was this 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds shooting up broad day everywhere, and it's like, come on now, we just gonna keep watching it, you know, especially people who helped contribute to it in the past, like, what you gonna do? So it was just like a charge, and like 2016 was when a lot of collective minds came together and kind of started doing this full time.
Man, like you even touching on that, on the outside looking in, when it comes to a place like Orlando, people may not be aware of the crime.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They, you know, it's like a tourist attraction. That's how it's promoted to people who don't stay here. You know, but you talking about people.
Yeah, you know,
it's like youngsters, like not the country, back-to-back shootings and stuff like that. So that element. So is that a real issue in the city of Orlando, or is it just concentrated pockets? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's yes and both. You know, because just like put like two parts to it. At one point in time, people don't know Orlando was like on the top 25 for murder per capita. You know, even though population-wise, we may have 60 million people come to Orlando in a year, but living in Orlando, we got about under 3 million. And per that number, we had so many murders that we was in the top 25 for years. It just recently, in the last 5 years or so, started to go down on that, just per capita. And then you got to think about it too. I didn't think it like that either. You know, you're in Orlando, Disney World, but I didn't think about it till I even went to California for the first time and saw LA. And anytime you got a pocket of big money and a lot of attraction, you always got a pocket of poor, you know, low income and some stuff going on that people not getting that. Because whenever there's people who are getting a lot of money at any place, it's going to leave a vacuum for the people who are not going to be getting the money. Those the low income workers, the ones who can't get the jobs because stuff is overpriced. Because we in Disney World, it might cost $3,000 for one bedroom, but you only making $1,000 a month. So you got to move in the outskirts, or you can't move, you end up homeless. So Orlando, you know, is just like a lot of other big cities that are known for capital. If you go to downtown Chicago, you might think this is the most beautiful place in the world, but they got some of the most violence in the world. And that's kind of the same thing that goes on, especially with it being Disney World. They're not going to let the media abroad get hold like, yeah, you go down to Disney World, you might get jacked if you go 15 minutes away from, you know, where Disney World at. But that's the reality, you know what I'm saying? It's just how it is.
No, for sure, for sure. And you mentioned, like, prior to making that transition, like, you've been on both ends of the spectrum. So you had your point in your life where you was dabbling with the hustling in the street. So how did that affect you?
I mean, to be honest, you know, growing up, I always thought of myself as like, I didn't think I was no crazy troublemaker, because you got people out here who's every day they trying to catch violence and catch bodies. I was like a hustler. I was like trying to provide for myself, trying to do what I had to do. But when you hustling, sometimes it leads to you doing stuff that you don't really, you look back and be like, damn, I was tripping. Like, I shouldn't have did that. But, you know, it's a blessing to make it out of that and be able to reach back to them kids and reach back to people who are in that same position and let them know, like, hey, I've been down that way, but I did see a different way. Because I'll be real, a lot of times when you're talking to these people in the streets, you can't talk to them without knowing what you're talking about. You can't just say, hey, I just want you to do better. I want to pray for you only, and I don't know what you're going through or why you're doing this, but I'm here for you. You know, that's good, and they need that part, but they also need a person who's like, hey, man, I've been there. Let me tell you, bro, it was hard. Like, let me show you what happened to me. Let me show you what my life went to. Let me show you my homeboy who ain't make it. And that's really what it gave me that chance to do. You know, I ain't never proud about nothing that we ever did or nothing like that, but I'm more like informed when I'm talking to people like, hey, man, I know how it be, but at the same time, there's another way.
No, for sure. And it's a blessing for you to be able to make it up out of that.
Yeah,
and
man.
kind of contribute to making a positive impact. Both of y'all brothers, you know, to be honest with you. And y'all, I'm sure y'all planting the seeds, and there's probably a lot more people involved with what y'all got going that's not on the camera, you know, but y'all come from that same life, though, so y'all can relate to the, you know what I'm saying, who y'all targeting. Yeah,
honestly, like, I tell people all the time, like, growing up, and even, like, people like King, like, he was one of the biggest people in the city. He had the city on lock. At one point in time, he was, like, the people that you would look at that the kids was like, damn, I want to be like that. So when he started doing this work and started coming out there and reaching out to people, that's a big game changer. You know, kids will see that, like, know that this man had all this stuff going on, but he genuinely changed. Now they're like, all right, it might be saying something that's worth hearing. Because at the same time, you know, people ain't going to feel it unless they know it's real.
For sure.
So a lot of times it's just keeping it real, and then we still building the book step by step, chapter by chapter.
No, for sure. Well, let's get into, man, what y'all brothers got going. So my brothers keep it from there, just blossom.
Yeah, you know, we was able to, you know, he had the Zulu movement going on, and from the Zulu movement, we made to birth a lot of things. Like right now, we have our own 501c3, Let Your Voice Be Heard. We got Brothers Get Up, and we also got Restart Housing. So we doing things with social justice, impacting people with criminally, like people who got victims of crime, trying to help people who've been going through stuff and consider themselves survivors. And then we also got stuff that we lifted up brothers on the side. We're trying to get jobs. We're doing resources. We're doing fellowship. We're making sure everybody is lifted up. And then we got the housing piece. So we also doing transitional housing with people that are coming straight from the streets or coming straight home from jail. Or sometimes people who are just displaced, got low income, whatever it is, we meeting them in the middle. So really just seeing the things that got these gaps and missing and like, all right, what can we do on the ground to connect these dots and help people get there?
And you said, so if you can just guesstimate, like how long have y'all been doing each? Like so for each effort, each initiative, like how long has each one been active?
I mean, we want to go back to the past, like the Zulu movement and stuff with the brothers. That's been going on probably nearly 2 decades now. You know, clearly, like a little bit approximately when it comes to even let your voice be heard, when it comes to social justice, like reform, different things like that. That's been going on for almost a decade now. That officially was incorporated 2016, but it's been going since 2014, 15. I just got to the actual paperwork done in 2016. And then even with the Restart Housing, that's been going on since like 2019. It's just now getting more official, more solidified, and we just incorporating everything now. That's one thing when it comes to helping. You know, you got to help out, but you got to get your paperwork right. And you got to get all your stuff, ducks lined up before you step out for real.
So how challenging is it, and I want to go back to just the initiatives, man, but just to veer off for a second. So one brother, you had, I guess, the street lifestyle. You know, you was hood rich. Or I don't want to put labels on you. And you said you don't deal with the devil as well. I don't know to what extent it got, if it was on a large scale for you as well. But now y'all in the community making an impact. You know, that's not necessarily something that's always a lucrative profession. So, like, how difficult is it to follow your heart, you know, and help, you know what I'm saying, youngsters, or help somebody who's re-entering into society from incarceration or been a victim of a crime, but also pay your bills, you know, like what's that
That's a damn good question.
that challenge like? What's that like?
For real.
No, it gets hard, man, because, you know, at the same time, a lot of people don't want to give back to something that's going to help people and you don't see the return. You know, when you got certain things that people could be like, I'll put money into you and I'm going to see my money come back, it's different. When you put it into, like, trying to help people, trying to build people up, it's way different. So, like, it gets hard. You know, it's been a lot of times that we done had to sacrifice and miss meals literally to help feed others. You know, it's been times that we was doing stuff and making sure things were taken care of on the business side, but we got to figure out how to take care of our own personal finances. And, you know, a lot of times the blessings come with it, though, you know, and it's not like you do stuff for the blessings, but blessings come, and we hustlers. So if it ain't through the nonprofit, trust me, we're going to get it through something else. We're going to be working, we're going to be doing stuff, and staying legit is the biggest key. Because a lot of people can fall off, you can backpedal, you know, mess up because it gets so hard. But we've been staying authentic, staying genuine. We've been blessed with our own businesses that we can do on our own, that we can get some money to come in from. So sometimes if we ain't making money off the nonprofit, we're going to be doing other businesses and other stuff and providing other resources and services that might have some return. But for the most part, 90% of what we do is giving back. You know, we just found a way to do stuff that might have some kind of income if we can find it in the future. But we don't never step like that. You know what I'm saying? We step out on faith like we got to get it, you know.
No, I was just curious because, I mean, just on the outside looking in, both of y'all look clean. Like, you got the chains on, you know what I'm saying, the dread.
Yeah, man.
I'm saying he clean, you know, so it don't look like y'all missing no meals. Or,
yeah, but that's old money right there, man. That's old money right there. You know how that goes? Yeah, man. It's been a lot of struggles, but trust me, like, you know. And one thing about it is it's blessing that we still here, like you said.
Yeah.
It's for real.